Hey guys, Teanna Branae here and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a mommy Q&A. I found this Q&A online. If I can remember the site, I may link it, but if I can't remember it, don't hold me to it. Here we go. So question number one, I have them written down in my notebook. So if you see me looking at it, that's what I'm looking at. How old were you when you had your first child? When I had Julian, I was what? 25, going on 26. Yeah, because he was born in March of 2019. So I was 25. It was a couple of months before my 26th birthday. Number two, what was the hardest part about being pregnant? Oh, what was the hardest part about being pregnant? I don't know. I think the hardest part about being pregnant was I would get really tired. As usual, I was always tired. I would get nauseous every time I was in the car, just like the normal like pregnancy symptom stuff. But other than that, I think, well, you know what? I'm lying. The hardest thing about being pregnant was probably working retail. The retail place that I worked in, I was a cashier, and I was not allowed to sit down at my lane that I worked at. That was probably the hardest. I would never work retail and be pregnant again. I ain't gonna ever say I would never work a certain job ever again, because you never know where life takes you or where you would end up. You don't want to be too proud in life, but I would never work a standing job and be pregnant ever again. That was probably the hardest thing, because it sucked. And I remember my doctor tried to get them to give me a chair in my lane, and they told her I couldn't have one. And then the compromise was, well, she can take an extra break for 15 minutes. But every time she takes an extra break, we're gonna dock her those 15 minutes pay. So I was gonna have to clock out for 15 minutes to sit down, as pregnant as I was. Number three, can you think of any good things you enjoyed during pregnancy? Something I enjoyed during pregnancy, I ate a lot, which I guess I shouldn't be proud of, but I did. People were nice to me because they felt like they had to be, because I was a pregnant lady. So like, for example, my mom, whenever I would come over her house, because when I gave birth, Andre was still in school. He was finishing up his last semester at college. So sometimes I would have to come down to my mom's house to have her keep an eye on me once I started getting close to the end, because nobody wanted me to have a slip up at the apartment in a whole nother city by myself, 45 minutes ish, 50 minutes, almost an hour away from the hospital I was going to deliver it. So people were nice to me. That was probably the best thing about being pregnant, or the one thing that I enjoyed the most about being pregnant. Number four, were all the things you heard about childbirth accurate or way off? Way off. And this isn't necessarily because of stuff I heard. Like, people told me it's gonna hurt, because I have really bad periods or cramps, whatever you want to call it, because I have fibroids. So my periods are really painful. So I was told ahead of time, Teanna, you know, if you have bad periods, your labor and delivery is gonna be hard and it's gonna hurt. So I was expecting that, but I'm gonna be honest, I did get an epidural, but that aside, it didn't hurt as much as I thought it was gonna hurt. Like, I thought it was gonna be worse than what it was. So I feel like I was a little let down. Like, it hurt. Not on a scale of 1 to 10. It was a 10, but I thought it was gonna be on a scale of 1 to 10, a 15. But it hurt. It's just, I was a little disappointed that it didn't hurt as much as I thought it was gonna hurt. That's all. Number five, would you have handled childbirth differently if you could redo it? Well, Andre and I have already talked about this. Our next child, we don't plan on having anybody in the delivery room with us. The first time we had both of our moms in there, and then like family was popping in and out before I gave birth. But I felt like I was a little bit stressed. Not stressed out, like they were stressing me out, but I felt like it was a lot going on and I was uncomfortable. It was just a lot. So we've decided that our next child, we're not letting anybody in the room with us. It's just gonna be me and him, and that'll be that. So we do plan on doing that differently. But other than that, Um, Everything was fine other than that. You know, nothing went wrong, God. Thankfully, nothing went wrong. But that probably would be the one thing that I would do differently. I would not let anybody in when I give birth. Number 6, what would be your advice for someone who is about to have a baby? Oh, if you're having a baby shower and you have a registry, put everything on your registry. When Andre and I were making our registry, because I was making stuff that Julian would need and that I would want for Julian, so like certain body lotion, certain body wash, baby wash, certain shampoos, like stuff like that. Or I breastfed, so I put like some breastfeeding stuff on there, things of that nature. Andre was putting like if he wanted certain baby carriers or stuff like that, he picked that type of stuff out. But we were really nervous to put certain like big items on the registry because we didn't know if anybody was gonna get it. And so my parents, his parents, my grandma, everybody was telling us, just put everything on the registry. If people gonna get it, they're gonna get it. If they're not gonna get it, they just not gonna get it. But just put it all on the registry. So we ended up going back over our registry and literally just adding everything on our registry. And we put all the good stuff on our registry. So when Julian came, we didn't have to buy a car seat. We didn't have to buy a stroller. We didn't have to buy baby monitors. We didn't have to buy a crib. We didn't have to buy a pack and play. Like all of the big ticket baby items, we didn't have to buy any of that stuff because we didn't have to buy a high chair, none of that stuff, because we put it all on the registry. And then people came with the stuff. We were surprised, but people came with the stuff. So if you are having a child and you are able to do a baby registry, put everything that you need on your registry. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But it may potentially save you some money. So put everything that you will need or that you think your child will need on your registry. Number 7, what has been the hardest thing about being a mom? I think the hardest thing about being a mom, and I'm sorry if y'all hear clicking, Andre's right here playing with his keyboard again, ignore him. But the hardest thing about being a mom for me is balancing my time a little better. Because I put on Twitter the other day, I feel so bad that I used to be this person. Like I have a cousin who had a child before I did. She was like the first one in our age range, our generation, to have a child. And I remember after her baby was born, whenever she would come around and he wasn't with her, we would ask, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And now that I have a child, babe, you so rude. Now that I have a child, I realize how inconsiderate that is, because you don't know what that mom went through that morning. You don't know what that mom went through with her child that day. Like, you don't know if she just needed some alone time. You don't know if she left because she needed to just run errands by herself that day. And so I think that's the hardest thing about being a mom, is feeling okay with doing stuff by yourself and not feeling like, okay, let me get Julian dressed, I think a lot of the time it doesn't even come all the time from me wanting to be with Julian a lot. I think sometimes it comes from me feeling like, okay, I know they're gonna ask, so let me just take him with me. I know this person gonna ask, so let me just take him. And it shouldn't be like that, but that's how it is. And so I am so sorry to my cousin for doing that to her after she gave birth. All right, number 8. What has been the most rewarding thing about being a mom? So far, the most rewarding thing is probably just seeing Julian develop. I think the most rewarding thing is just seeing him grow in his development. Like, we were going over flashcards one day and I showed him a shape and he was able to say octagon, or he knows how to say xylophone. Like, just he's like 2, he's only 2, he counts to 20. He knows like all of his main shapes. He knows what a diamond is and what a star is, and he knows animal sounds. And so just seeing him learn like new stuff all the time. Number 9, what was the most surprising thing you discovered about being a mom? The most surprising thing about being a mom? I don't know. I don't think anything about being a mom has. Oh, I'm lying. It's a very okay, here it is. Do you know how when you don't have kids, or if you Black, you will understand this because we know people do this. When you at the store and you see somebody's child acting up and it's that person, who baby is that? Why are they doing that? Why are baby doing that? Who baby is that? I have become the mom of the who baby is that? Because sometimes we're at the store and Julian will freak out. Like, he will flip out of nowhere. He don't want to be in the cart no more. He want to walk, but he want to go do his own thing. And if I don't want to follow him and I make him get back in the cart because I don't feel like following him to wherever random aisle he wants to go to because he saw something shiny in that aisle or whatever, he will have a full tantrum. And I used to be the, who baby is that? What are they doing in the store? Like, I used to be that person too. And now that my child does that, I understand, like, sometimes your kid just got an attitude and you just can't give in to that attitude. I did not think I was going to be, you know what, I'm lying. I've always said I'm going to be that, whose baby is that? Mama. I've always said I was going to be that mom. Before Julian was born, I said I was going to be that mom. And I am surprised that I am that mom. That is a surprise to me. That was surprising. But it's okay. But sometimes I be in the store like, Julian, you embarrassing me. But it's all right. Number 10. What habit did you wish your child didn't have? Julie doesn't really have any bad habits. Oh. Well, the 2 habits I wish he didn't have, he doesn't have anymore, but I can still name them. For a brief period when Julian was small, when he was like 3 or 4 months old, he randomly started sucking his thumb. And he only did it for like a month. Like, he didn't do it for long at all. But he randomly started sucking his thumb, even though we gave him pacifiers. He would spit his pacifier out, or his wubbing up out, and he would suck his thumb. And I didn't like that, but I let him do it because he's a baby. He's trying to soothe himself. He doesn't understand. And he only did it for like a month, and then he just went back to the pacifier until he got sick of the pacifier, and then that was it. But I did not like that he sucked his thumb, because I was hoping he didn't get like addicted to sucking his thumb. He didn't. He outgrew it after, like I said, like a month, maybe a month and a half. So it didn't last long at all. But that's definitely one. The second thing is, I mentioned this in my Amazon favorites for babies video. He used to rock and like knock his head at the crib at night. And I will say, like I told y'all in that video with the Amazon favorites, I bought this pillow and it like absorbs the sound, because that's why he did it, for the noise of it. And he still rocks to soothe himself to sleep sometimes, but he doesn't knock against the crib really anymore. So he doesn't really do that anymore since we got the pillow. But those 2 things I absolutely hated that he did, and we tried to find different ways to correct, not the sucking in the thumb, he was going to do that, but for the rocking, we made sure we find a way to resolve that. Because no. Number 11. What habit of theirs makes you the most proud? Does Julian have a habit I'm the most proud of? Oh, he's polite. I'll say that one. He's polite. He does say please. If he wants something, he'll say please. He says thank you. He'll tell you. Well, he doesn't really say you're welcome. He tries to say it, but I don't think he understands the concept of you're welcome. But he definitely does say his pleases and his thank yous. He's extremely polite. He's a troublemaker, but he's extremely polite. So I am extremely proud of that. Number 12. Do you share similarities with your child? We both were born with 12 fingers, so there's that. But for the most part, he looks like his daddy. But we both were born with 12 fingers. So that's a similarity. But he don't look like me. He like his daddy. And the older he gets, the more he looks like his father. We had certain similar features when he was younger, like before his features fully came in. Like our nostrils were similar. We're similar in skin tone. His top lip was really small like mine is. But as he gets older, he has less and less of my features and more of his father's. But we both have 12 fingers when we were born, so there's that. And lastly, number 13. How has becoming a mom changed you as a person? I don't think it's, oh, you know what? It hasn't changed me in terms of like kids. I've always been really, really good with children. I've always been really, really pleasant with children, so it hasn't changed me in that regard. But I do think it's made my tolerance lower. And I've been like this since I got pregnant. Like my patience for people, it's not there anymore. Like if you don't want to be bothered with me, I don't want to be bothered with you. If I'm trying to be nice to you and you ain't having it, I'm not being nice to you no more. Like I'm kind of done. And I was not like that before Julian. Like I would give people chance after chance after chance. I can admit that. I think that's the only way I've changed as a mom. Well, as a person since becoming a mom. But that was all for this video. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of content down below. Did you like the questions? Are there any questions that you didn't like? Whatever you want to comment. Yeah. And I will see you guys in the next video.